for Agriculture, Willie Bett, as well as the Defence Chair in the National Assembly and the Teto Member of Parliament, Ndungu Githinji, all lining up there, including the Solicitor General, Nje Muturi. And of course, there's also the South African delegation, powerful ministers in the Jacob Zuma administration, as well as key business figures in his administration or in South Africa. And remember, after their bilateral talks, they will head to a business forum meeting, Kenya-South Africa Business Forum meeting, spearheaded by the Kenya Chamber of Commerce. Yes. The commander has given his troops marching orders, and they will be exiting the stage as they pass before their commander-in-chief, President Uhuru Kenyatta. Such a splendid display of talent, workmanship, and training by the Kenya Air Force. The gentlemen and ladies in charge of our defense on Kenyan airspace, protecting the sovereignty of the Republic of Kenya on air. So Jacob Zuma, the President of South Africa, with President Uhuru Kenyatta, the President. And once they're done, they retreat back to the State House, where they will hold talks on issues of immigration, trade and security. And of course, the African continent continues to be a major challenge. The Al-Shabaab threat, as well as the threat of terrorism, not only posed by Al-Shabaab, but also the ISIS, continues to be one of the biggest challenges facing not only Africa, but the whole world. And therefore, moving forward, in every bilateral talks, you can always expect that there will be deeper cooperation on issues of security because of sharing of intelligence between countries, that when South Africa has intel, the Kenya will be a target can share with their Kenyan counterparts, and vis-a-vis, or the Kenyan authorities sharing intelligence with South Africa in case there's any intel that South Africa is likely to be hit. So in the wake of renewed terror threats, not only facing the country, you can be sure that indeed issues of security will always crop up in bilateral relations or in bilateral talks between countries seeking to ensure that, again, intelligence is shared. Importantly, again, if there is other areas of cooperation that can be explored between these countries to ensure that there is better security, not only for the people of the Republic of Kenya, but the people of South Africa, as well as other nations, and working as a people in the nation, in these nations. And there you go, President Uhuru Kenyatta is introducing his officials to President Jacob Zuma. Right now, that is Mohammed Aden, the CS for Industrialization. Masharia, the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, Aden Duale, the Majority Leader of the National Assembly. And there you got Willie Bett, the CS for Agriculture. Monica Juma is the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Defense. And you have also Ndungu Githinji. I said he's the Chairperson of the Defense Committee in the National Assembly. One of the people perhaps you would need to involve in these talks. And Nje Muturi as well, who is the Solicitor General. And I also spotted Manoa Esipisu, who is the President's spokesperson here in State House. And from there, I think the group will be ending so that now the President of South Africa is able to introduce to President Uhuru Kenyatta the delegation he has brought to State House, and later on retreat through this door to go inside State House to have talks on issues of trade, security, and immigration. And I will tell you for a fact, South Africa is a towering figure when it comes to economy in the Republic of South Africa, or rather in the African continent. South Africa is a giant economically, and perhaps there's several lessons, one or two, to learn from the South African government or the South African state. And you would say, again, being a giant economically, though Kenya is not trailing that badly, is still doing well. But then again, being a giant economically, it perhaps would mean that in terms of a scales of trade, they have tilted a little bit in favor of South Africa when it comes to how much we are importing from them and how much we're exporting to them. It would mean then that the scales of trade are tilting in favor of South Africa as compared to them tilting on this other side. And perhaps again addressing those gaps in terms of tilting of skills in terms of doing business perhaps will be one of the subjects again that will be explored here inside State House. How do we increase exports to South Africa, and including the export of avocados, perhaps that has had several problems. And I don't know whether, again, the resumption of the export of avocados to South Africa is something that is going to be explored here to ensure, again, that avocado farmers are able to get a ready, wide and dynamic market in South Africa. That is also likely to come up in the bilateral talks to be held between President Uhuru Kenyatta and President Jacob Zuma of South Africa. Immigration rules, Kenyan businessmen and women complaining that, again, securing business permits in South Africa, as well as securing that very important document, which is a passport to help you do business or be in South Africa legally, sometimes has been a little bit difficult because of a stringent immigration rules. And there you go, President Jacob Zuma is ushered into State House by President Uhuru Kenyatta for the bilateral talks, accompanied by the delegation, the Kenyan one, of course, being led by President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Amina Mohammed. Equally and importantly, before we take up on Thursday, is that Ambassador Amina Mohammed has been nominated to head the African Union Commission as the chairperson. That position, as it is held by Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, who is the chairperson of the African Union Commission and was supposed to exit in July, but then out of a shambled elections that ended up in no candidate getting a two-third majority vote, which is the requisite vote that you would require to ascend to the chairperson of the African Union Commission. That election never happened, so it is slated for January, and President Uhuru Kenyatta has nominated Ambassador Amina Mohammed to be the African Union Commission chairperson. And importantly so, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma is from the Republic of South Africa. So will South Africa be supporting Kenya's bid to head the African Union Commission? Well, we will hear from them once they retreat inside here and they hold those discussions, and we'll see how that one goes as regards whether. And of course, on Sunday, the State House spokesperson Manoa SABC revealed that before even the president had announced the nomination of Ambassador Amina Mohammed, he had talked personally to President Jacob Zuma of South Africa on phone. He had also called several heads of state to actually consult on this one, and perhaps they gave him a go ahead. So here again, we'll be waiting to see whether South Africa will be moving along with Kenya to ensure that again this position goes to Kenya. And if it does so in January, and all our eyes will be looking forward to that, you can be sure that this is the first time that East Africa will be getting the position of African Union Commission chairperson. This position having previously held by West Africa as well as South Africa. Again, it will be interesting to see this position, whether it will come to South Africa, and that can only be revealed after the bilateral talks between President Uhuru Kenyatta and awaiting for the January elections by the African Union to see how that one goes. And indeed, we'll be waiting for this, and we'll be briefing you a little bit later. Once the bilateral talks are over, there will be a press conference between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his guest, that is President Jacob Zuma, briefing the country on what the deliberations have been, how to increase trade, how to relax the immigration rules and the cooperation in security, and whether South Africa is going to endorse Ambassador Amina Chawahir Mohammed Jibril as the chairperson of the African Union Commission. My name is John Jacob Kuria. We'll hand you back to Broadcasting House, but then again we'll be back later when that press conference comes calling. Good morning.